So anyway, I was saying my dad was super excited when we got a regular old calculator in Carol's Beauty Supply. My mom had a beauty supply business years ago, and just it was the first when I did this earlier. I was saying wireless, the first wireless because adding machine is all they had before that. This calculator, it didn't have the paper roll like you were talking about, but
Mm.
it had big buttons. 2 plus 2 equals.
Yeah,
So
right.
you could go do inventory anywhere in the business, go in the bag, add stuff together. It was like a salesperson on the road could add stuff together so much quicker because you didn't have a phone to do it on. So that was like the start of understanding or noticing technology in my life. And I didn't appreciate it at all. Didn't even care. I was in grammar school when that calculator came out. But then from there, so many things. Thinking of it now, I love what Elon Musk says. We are, they say, are we going to have technology like implanted in us? Are we going to be cyborgs? And he goes, we already are. Most of us can't live without our phone. We're connected to technology. It just hasn't been physically implanted into us yet,
Oh,
but
he started
pretty
that. Did you
close.
see that?
Oh, I did. Right. He's just saying we can barely live without a phone now.
Yeah.
Every fact or something that somebody talks about, I know my wife fact checks people all the time. Is if you see her getting a little bit of a disagreement with somebody, like, are you sure about that? All of a sudden she's looking at her phone. I'm like, you're looking it up, aren't you? Yes. She wants to see if that person's telling the truth. Did she just learn something? Did she just get lied to? I mean,
Yeah, right, right, right.
so I know you wanted to go more the direction of how technology is changing our industry because last week we kind of were talking about the automatic shampooing machine, and I always thought there's no way they're going to automate our industry, haircuts and shampoos. That's just way too complicated to do by robots. I just jokingly call them robots, but can a robot actually cut hair or shampoo hair? I mean, if you got a vacuum Flowbee type thing that vacuums
They
hair out
they
into it,
have it.
I haven't seen the automatic haircuts, but I imagine they're there. You've seen that, huh? I
I've
haven't really.
seen what do you call the concept? I've seen a concept video for it, and it did the best. You know that haircut like in the old karate movies, like the monks would shave the top of their crown, like around where their natural swirl
Everything
is.
but that section. You mean, right?
No, they would shave that
Oh,
section.
shave a
It was like
circle.
the
Oh,
Friar
okay.
Tuck from Robin Hood,
Oh,
like the
okay.
Friar Tuck haircut.
So the Hare Krishnas just leave that little bit of hair, and the
And
monks do the opposite. Okay, I've got it
oh,
backwards.
excuse me, I'm mixing it up. Correct, I'm mixing it up. Yeah, yeah. So the I seen a concept video, and of course, the technology was new, was coming up, right? And the robot like shaved accidentally there, and left like the rest of the hair alone. So that was bad. Just like last week, I was talking about how the self shampooing hood thing, like it was like a power wash, like a car wash, and it like blew the model's hair off, unfortunately, and it hurt her. So it's like,
So
but
now you're not going to laugh about it. You laughed about it last
I
week.
got it out of my system last week. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I was told it's supposed to be a sad thing. I'm not supposed to laugh.
Yeah, when there's blood involved, you have to act sad.
I want pasta when I see blood. I don't know. I get
Okay,
excited. I
you
don't know.
weirdo. So,
But I mean, there's all these concepts, and it's like, look, growing up, if anybody remembers the Jetsons cartoon,
oh
we
yeah,
thought that was the coolest thing. One day, we're just gonna wake up, stand on a conveyor belt. It's gonna take us, get us, showered, dressed, shaved, and ready to go for work, right? Breakfast and everything. And if you look at it in modern day technology now, you go to an airport, they have those walking sidewalks. Those are those conveyor belts, right? If
right.
you
I'm
look
gonna
at
turn off the Facebook because I can't turn the volume off enough.
it's
So
messing you up too much,
you
right?
guys on YouTube.
Catch you later. So then it's you see it on airports. It's come to pass, from that perspective. If you look at it from other kinds of technologies, a lot of things are coming to pass, and it's really interesting time. Now, if you think about it, this was a story that my original beauty school teacher told me. He said back in the day, and we're talking in the 40s, you used to get a perm, you would have your hair, they would wrap your hair in the rollers, and then they would plug it into a hood dryer, and you were physically connected to the hood dryer.
So have you seen it? It's not a dryer. My mom has a perm machine.
Well, it's the only way I can describe it for
Have you
modern day
seen
for
it?
somebody to understand.
Have you
I've
seen it?
seen, yeah, it looked
So it's
cool.
like it's this apparatus that has a lot of wires hanging with
Yeah,
clamps at the end, and every clamp went on a roller because I guess the clamps created heat is
right,
what that was
right,
about.
right.
So the clamps were heated, and so they heated up the chemical solution that was on your head, and that was the original perm machines. And I guess you could have put a cap on the head and put them under a hot dryer, and it would have been similar because that's what people ended up doing later. But we have an old time perm machine in my parents' attic. I should put that sucker in the salon because the wires are starting to get ratty and messed up. But we should try plugging it in and see what happens.
I mean, but that was, you know, that was an original technology that didn't
That's
exist
true.
for its time, right? And
Yes, if
then
you use
as
electricity, it was technology.
it was technology. So now you move forward to nowadays, we got self-timing perms, we have exothermic perms, self-heating perms, you know. So that's just one example, right? Another example was with flat ironing. There used to be, and I learned this, I had a black teacher, and she taught me, used to stick this rod in the oven, heat it up, then you tap it to the towel to get the initial sizzle off. And that's how you would straighten and smooth out curly hair, really tight curly hair.
A
You
lot of
know,
black salons still have what they call an oven. It's a round oven, heated ceramic situation with all the irons, different size barreled, Marcel, grip
hmm
irons all the way around, flat irons, curling irons, and you put the irons in the oven to heat up, and they would pull it over some sort of almost like perm paper too sometimes, and they
yeah,
would see how it burns the paper would determine how hot it was if it
how
was going to
hot it
burn the
was.
hair. The color of the paper would determine, right, if it's got too black, it was too hot still. So they would swing it around to cool it off a little bit. It's an art right there.
It really was. And in learning that was a really great experience. It really taught me, you know, how to control heat and how important heat is to the hair. Now
Right.
you fast forward nowadays. I mean, look, flat when
Wait, the
flat
blow dryer and the curling iron, I guess that'd be considered technology, huh?
and that's technology as well too. You know, that was from past to present. You know, with flat irons, you know, have digital readout dials. Blow dryers nowadays are lightweight. Curling irons are actually starting to get a temperature gauge on them. They don't just go to 10 anymore. Not sure if anybody's actually going to use temperature gauges on curling irons. That's always my little
Turn it
personal
up.
joke. That's all you do. You just turn it up, man. I don't know. It's like you turn it up, you got it set into the hair, and then you do one of these. And that's how you tell if it's hot enough or if it's gotten
Dude,
too hot.
oh my God, I've never seen anybody do that. I would be freaking out. I'd be
Everybody does it.
sitting on my curling iron.
Everybody does it.
It's just like hairdressers still putting what I would love a list of what hairdressers put in their mouth because they have bobby pins, hairpins, their comb, their I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm sure they're scissors just to hold them for a minute, like a
it,
knife, like you're
the two craziest things that has always amused me is how many things we put in our mouth, especially like, so you're talking about bobby pins and hairpins. What about in the middle of doing hair color when you're using your sectioning clips and it's got color on it and they shove it in their mouth, not thinking about that there's still the color on it. And then they're rushing for their coffee to try to wash out their mouth, you know? And stylist, okay, anybody watching, put me in the comment section. Are you a stylist that puts the blow dryer between your legs and you don't turn it off? And it's just blowing between your legs? And why? Why not just put it down or turn it off for a second?
they don't have a shelf close enough, so you squeeze it between your thighs, get your section, and grab it
While
again.
it's on,
I've seen it.
while it's
I
still
know.
running.
Well, you have to be careful about where it's blowing, right? I mean, you don't want to be blowing straight up or heating up your crotch or the back of the chair, and you don't want to block where the air's coming in the dryer with your thighs. You have to be mindful of a few of these things. But I have a lot better respect for a hairdresser that puts something between their thighs than in their mouth, because that's just. I mean, at least their pants should be clean, right? It looks a little funny, I admit, but the in the mouth, too many things go in the mouth. That could be a whole list. I don't think we'll ever do that one. But I love what you did with this past, present, and future technology, because I never even thought about that stuff being technology. I'm thinking technology is now and in the future. But you're right. The blow dryer technically, I think, was invented during my lifetime. I don't think they had a blow dryer when I was a kid, or it just was invented. I mean,
I think you're too young. It was before Sassoon.
what year? Do
Sassoon
you know?
popularized the blow dryer.
In the 60s,
Oh,
maybe?
we have
Okay, I was born in
Googles.
69. Maybe it was in the early to mid 60s. But just let's take like flat hair, for example. I'm glad you were like such a computer nerd typer. You could figure it out. So
1890.
what? I'm not that
18.
old. I
Oh, I
thought,
gotta send you a picture of this. It's a
so,
blow dryer like you would imagine with a hood.
oh, I mean a handheld blow dryer, not a hood dryer. When was the handheld blow dryer invented? Because that's the one that really changed the industry, right? And that's when Sassoon was, because a lot of times there was rollers going on, and just a hood dryer was technology because girls had to wrap their hair in anything round at some point. They didn't even have rollers at some point. They would use orange juice cans, the old from the concentrates, and other round barreled cans and jars and bottles, cotton, and sometimes rollers. But you would wrap it up in some sponges or whatever and sleep on it and let it dry through the night. So when you had that hood dryer, when did the handheld dryer come out? Did you find it?
1911
A lot
by
earlier than
an
I thought.
Armenian guy.
Wow. So it didn't actually get popularized probably till
Till the
Sassoon.
20s, probably till the 20s is when it got popularized.
Okay, okay. God, I don't know why I thought it was the 60s, which is still a little
Well,
earlier than
that
me
was
being
that was
born.
because Sassoon commercialized
Yeah,
hairstyling. That's really
yeah.
the popularity of it. That was the
Well, that's
revolution, was that.
that's interesting that it took 40, 50 years for it to ever actually get anywhere. And it makes
Well,
sense. That's kind of
you
how
think
things
about it in the
happen.
20s, I mean, that was like the flapper dresses, right? So that was a lot of women were cutting their hair off. Yeah,
And I've
it's
never
cool.
seen this happen, but a lot of girls I remember saying, "Oh, my grandma said they used to flat iron their hair on the ironing board
My
with the
mom used to
clothing."
do that.
Yeah. So you would smooth your hair on the ironing board. So you couldn't get too close to the scalp with this technique, obviously, but it would smooth a lot of your hair out. It was another piece of fabric, the hair, the clothes. And so that was the beginning of technology making things easier in our world. And only guys went to a salon, which was a barber shop at one point.
Hmm.
Girls going and getting their hair cut and styled, that was a new thing. And now it's the more profitable thing
Is the way
is
more
to do
profitable
ladies'
thing.
hair.
And then
Yeah.
this is where you can help me out. So you would go run over a raccoon, or you would get a squirrel and you'd flatten it out and you put that on your head. And that was
Oh,
the
come on.
original toupees.
Yeah. So
How
do you
has
know that
technology improved in hair replacement?
somebody brought to one of my hair replacement classes one day? You used to be able to buy a toupee out of the Sears catalog.
Out of the Sears catalog.
Yeah, so you look in the
Wow, that's a
catalog and you're a
flashback.
man and you've got medium brown. Order a medium brown toupee.
Oh, that's
Bring it to
wild.
your hairdresser, tape it on, and your hairdresser will cut it in because they didn't have hair replacement studios, people that were trained in hair replacement specifically. It's hair. It cuts like normal hair. But yeah, one haircut and it's it. You do it wrong and it's ruined. So I don't know how much it costs, but you could order a men's toupee out of the Sears catalog. And that was the beginning of, I guess commercialization of hair replacement. But technology and hair replacement, that's a whole nother. It's definitely gotten better and better and better to the point where we try to not call it a toupee anymore because it's been bonded on, and then the difference between surgical, non-surgical. We've done that in past videos. But let's get to present technology. So we covered a lot of past. What's present? What are we using right now?
So present right now that's new is a lot of these super lightweight featherweight blow dryers and a lot of
That's
these
true.
air rollers, air yeah, air rollers. So using rods, using heat, styling rods, but without heat. That's a new technology that's really popular and it's been trending since about 2 years ago, something
How
like
does it
that.
style if it's not using heat? I don't know about this thing you talk
It's
of.
it's so like
Styling. Right.
you know when women put a roller set in their hair and then they'll go to sleep
Yes.
at night or they'll walk around.
Yes.
There's always that image
And
of
you
the
just
girl
or
smoking
you
with the
sit under a
rollers,
hood dryer.
or you sit under a hood dryer.
Yeah.
Now so then what became popular about 15, 20 years ago was the preheated rollers. You'd put them in this bin, in this tray. It would heat
Hot
up. You'd
roller.
roll it in, and yeah, hot rollers, right? So
Okay.
now they got those same hot rollers, but it's just blowing air without heat, and it just naturally blows
The
the moisture
roller, not
off.
connected to any wires.
Not it's like a special. It's almost like a styling wand.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay. I thought you meant it was like a set of hot roller type things that you put in your hair and then they
It
just blow.
creates the same effect. It
I
creates the
got
same
you.
effect like
So you're talking
those.
like, I got you. So it looks like a curling iron. It's like a mix between a curling iron and a blow dryer
Ish, yeah.
because
But
it's
but it's
blow.
it's 10,000 times more user friendly because the issue was a lot of people were struggling to hold the round brush and then hold the blow dryer and blow dry their own hair, and it would create a lot
Right.
of fatigue, and the angles were
And
really difficult.
I've never used the one, but I see the one in those commercials where they hold a section of hair out and just put this tool somewhere around it, and the hair just it because it's blowing in a circular pattern around the
Right,
rod, it'll
right.
just suck the hair
It
around
helps
it.
direct the hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's kind of blowing, heating, drying, and curling the hair all at the same time. So it's drying it and curling it with a few other help. That is pretty good technology. I'd say the biggest helpful technology present, it was kind of past and present, was getting our appointments off of paper into computers. And then when computers got better, like went to laptops and cell phones, then the apps, doing your appointment booking and rescheduling and checking out from your phone. All the stuff that happens from the phone would be an amazing technological advance and help in the hair world. And I know that's not directly with the hair, that's kind of the business side of it, but that did
No,
help
but
us
that
become,
matters.
yeah, it made us all a little more efficient. A lot of people are renting stations these days instead of in salons where you've got a coordinator or a receptionist or somebody to help you make those appointments or do the cancellations. So now you go one step further is the clients can make their own appointment through the app, cancel their own appointment,
Hmm.
and that helped hairdressers not need the salon coordinator quite as much if they run their app correctly. But software apps allowing a client to make the appointment, that's huge. That's huge.
It really is huge. You
So
were
that's
just
one of the,
talking about this last week or the week before on the apps topic. You were
yeah,
talking about this the week before. You have the camera that can go on the scalp, and then you have the
oh
app
yeah,
on your phone that you can see. You can see it in real time.
yep, a scope.
What a scope.
Most people are calling it a scope, but it's basically a microscope, a digital electronic microscope that uh, when Brittany was here last week, she had one that was Bluetooth activated. I've got one that's wired. I haven't hooked up yet, but you wire and plug it into the laptop or an iPad, and then it's just round, and you pretty much set it on the head because that'll help stabilize it. You don't have to be a certain distance because it's got a little mouth on the front of it, kind of like when you look through binoculars. They got that rubber part that goes against your eye, keeps your eye a certain distance from the lens. Well, this you put right on the head, and you can see, boom, right there on,
Mm.
and it blows it up hundreds of times on the laptop. You can see the size of a person's individual hairs, the funk on their scalp, or the cleanliness of their scalp, how many hairs are coming out of each hole. It's crazy how you'll have two or three hairs growing out of the same little spot on the head where everybody just assumes it's just one hair, but it's one and two and three and weak ones and strong ones and filthy ones. You can see the oil, you
It's
can see the
so wild.
dryness. It's crazy. And I don't think enough hairdressers scope and look closely at the scalp. And that's because of that advancement, we can more precisely recommend products for dry or oily or normal hair. Whereas before, it was a big guess, right?
Mm.
It was more of an educated guess. It took a hairdresser more time of getting experience with hair and a client saying, I always have this problem. My hair always falls or this or tangles or whatever they would say. And you start to over time relate it to, oh, that's what That's what over oily hair does over time. If you do this, you'll have a better experience. Then you have the clients that are saying, when I get my hair highlighted, it performs better because I think my hair is too oily. And when I dry it out a little with the chemical damage, they don't say chemical damage, but that's basically what's going on is we're blowing the cuticle up, drying it out a little. Then the oil from their scalp is helping the hair feel better. So it's actually a good bet. So, these things come through experience, but when you've got a scope and you can look right at the scalp and you have a chart that says, this is what dry hair or scalp looks like. This is what oily looks like. This is what normal. Use
Yeah.
this product, fix that. That's huge. It helps the hairdresser not have to know. So I don't know if it's good or bad. Makes us lazier, not need to be as knowledgeable. Technology is doing the heavy
No,
lifting.
I think it helps because it helps us better diagnose what the real issues are so we can better recommend the proper regimen and or
Right.
products to help, help that client achieve whatever that desired style is that they want. Because
Right.
ultimately we want to help people look their best. We want people to feel good. That's the whole reason why
Right.
we're doing all this. Another thing of apps and technologies nowadays too, it's been around for a while, but it's becoming, they're trying to integrate it a lot more into everyday use, is the color applications, the color apps, I should say. So you come in and you say, I wonder what I would look like as a redhead. Well, hey, guess what? Let's take a picture of you and let's turn you into a redhead real quick. And then we could show you on here like this is what you would look like as a red or as a highlight or as a blonde or as a dark or whatever is different than what you currently have.
Do you use an app like that? I don't. I remember 30 years ago, this guy trying to sell that software to my
You
mom.
remember
My
that? Yeah,
mom.
when it first came out.
There was software, and it was thousands of dollars. You bought the
Yep.
computer and the whatever. You had to take the picture and then draw the line around the person. Oh, not there. You had to draw the line around the skin section and take the hair off and put the hair on. And it was quite an ordeal, and it was very clunky,
I
but it
mean,
was
that
the
was its
beginning.
first iteration. Yeah, right. That was in the
Yeah.
beginning. No, it's
And
improved
now
tremendously since then.
tremendously and basically free. I mean, it's like Facetune or something. I don't know. There's an app called Facetune. I've seen some people use it. Some of these classes I teach where they're taking pictures of themselves and they're like, "Oh, do you use Facetune? Look, we can take the frizzies out of the hair. We can fix the blemishes. We can whiten your teeth a little. We can narrow your nose a little." I'm like, "Oh my God, are you even
We could
real
make you
anymore?"
look like, yeah, everything except for yourself. How do you want to look versus how do you look?
Yeah. There was somebody who I met recently, and I told my wife, I said, "Come see." I said, "Look at this. Look at this profile picture of so and so. I don't know, is it her hair or her makeup? Look how pretty she is. I don't remember." And she goes, "Oh, that's filters." I was like, "You're probably right." I was thinking, what a good job on the eyebrows and the makeup and the
Yeah, right.
lip. Yeah, and probably did. She was doing a teaching video, and I'm thinking she looks better than I remember her looking, or what? And she's like, "That's filters, Bernard. I mean, we can all look better if you want to take a little time and filter your image." And I just don't care enough, I guess, but just so fascinating the things that we can do these days. Is
The things
anybody
that can be
real
done.
anymore? So what other technology are we using right now that's super helpful?
That's a good question.
Have you exhausted your list? Because I want to hear about the future.
Is there anything? Oh, what is that laser? What's I know that's been popular, but it's getting. I feel like it's growing more and more in popularity. The laser regrowth, his hair stimulant, scalp
Laser for
stimulant.
so much. I've only caught small laser classes at different conferences I've been to recently. I've never really used laser for much, but I'm going to a chiropractor right now. And the funny thing is, people think of a chiropractor as the cracking of bones. What do they call it? They have a word for it. They don't say cracked
Adjustment.
in it. Yes, that's what it is.
Adjustment.
They don't like the word cracking. It's like, "Oh yeah, my neck cracked. It was adjusted." The crack is just a byproduct. But right, they do the adjustments, and I don't get adjusted. The chiropractor I go to does very little adjusting. He uses other means, a lot of stretching, he's got a table you lay on that pulls your head or your hips, and which basically is traction separating your bones, your spine, so that fluid can get back in between them and just relieves pressure, and it feels so good. But he also uses a lot of laser and soft wave technology.
Hmm.
And so the laser is the interesting thing to me because we use laser in so many industries now. And he does it on the back of my neck. Every time I get the thing where I sit on a table and it pulls on my head and lets go and pulls back for like 20 minutes. Then at the end, a girl rubs a laser across and it's freaking warm. And he said you can take a little more pain than most people, so we bump up the heat and the intensity, and tell if it fixes it right away. But I do know that I hear people talk about lasers. I mean, I watch a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson and space stuff, and he's talking about lasers from outer space at these satellites can zap a city, and lasers on ships that can burn. I'm just saying you've got
You're listening
lasers
too
that can
much to
do,
that.
but you can do so much and so little with a laser.
Yeah.
You got a little laser pointer pen that just kind of points at the wall saying, in this image, I'd like to describe and you can point to it and they're like, don't put that in anybody's eyes. It's not good for them. But how bad is it actually? So he's telling me you pay a little more, you get a laser that penetrates a little deeper. It actually does do something. Well, that's what they're saying with hair growth too. They're putting these laser helmets on. They've got baseball caps with lasers inside. They've got laser helmets that you can have people pay for in the salon. And it's so much laser for so long a period of time. And these classes I go to, some of them say, don't just buy one off Amazon. It doesn't have the penetration power, the strength. It's not going any further than whatever depth into the skin. You need, so lasers can, but don't necessarily do a lot, just depending on what's going on. And it promotes blood flow in that area. And I don't know exactly what laser does, but I just know that you get the laser going on top of the head and people are getting hair growing back from it. And so I don't know if it's just from blood flow, if it's what it's stimulating to get it, but they have it for healing muscles, healing tendons and ligaments, healing hair growth. So yeah, laser is crazy because laser can do so much.
So much.
Maybe.
So now check this out. And I'm probably going to be butchering some of this stuff because it's all brand new stuff that I've never heard of, but it's pretty wild. But they have a new tool now that, and I've kind of seen, I guess, the original ideas of these, but now this is the first time I've seen something like this where it's a brush and the bristles from the bristles will emit some kind of a serum or some kind of a solution or some kind of a product that will help detangle the hair as you're brushing through it. Yeah.
That's cool.
So the
cool.
the very first iteration
I thought
of
you were going to
this,
say electricity. Bzzz.
I mean, that would be pretty wild too. But yeah, no, this
Why not have the lasers on every bristle? But go ahead. I'm
Do
sorry.
you remember the flat irons that used to claim? Well, okay. In my opinion, I don't agree with this. I'll just say this first.
Repairing hair.
You guy. I could have took a shot at you earlier. You admitted to repairing hair, but I let it go. I let it go. You didn't realize that you said it. There's the flat irons that have the vents in them and have the little sebum pockets in it, and it would disperse oil as you would flat iron your hair, and you'd be able to flat iron your hair from wet to dry.
Never did see that.
So they had these products like that, and personally I've been outspoken against it and against that technology. It just never was a good idea to me to put a flat iron to wet hair. But they said like the steam and the sizzle is what would smooth the hair out. And I'm like,
I love the sizzle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
Good show. I mean, it's good presentation, good show. Everybody starts looking.
Oh yeah,
What's going
you
on
feel
over
like
there?
it's like a
You're in a
nice
Mexican
foggy day.
restaurant getting a fajita dish.
Yeah, seriously, that's what it feels like. So, but
Now
now
fajitas?
when I seen this brush and it's got the bristles that are emitting some kind of product to help detangle the hair, I think that's pretty fascinating. I think that's going to be pretty interesting. Especially for somebody who has tight curl or somebody who has very long hair, or maybe somebody who's a young girl who is just prone to tangles because their cuticle isn't fully developed yet or whatever.
Or you're my son who's got this big hair and he needs a haircut, but he's fighting us against it. He doesn't want it cut. Go wet and comb your hair down before we go out. You look like this is what my chiropractor calls his son's hair. I said, your son's hair is long. Huh? He goes, oh, I hate it. He said, I say he looks like an alpaca. He said, I call it alpaca hair. I said, my son looks like that too. That is the style,
That's
alpaca.
awesome.
Yeah. And so the alpaca style, to get it calmed down, my kid, he's 10. He's not good with the products. And so we say you've got to wet your hair, you've got to put some product in it to calm it down. Well, the product goes in his hand and then it's just like this. Or it's all here. And he can't get it evenly distributed. So a brush that is squirting out the product that needs to be, that could definitely help him at least more evenly distribute the product in his hair, if nothing else. So I do kind of like that.
It
Whoops,
sounds interesting. It sounds
earthquake.
really, really
Yeah, I'm
interesting.
going to be looking that one up. I like that. You know, it reminds me of just a car wash brush, right? You hook the hose up to the end of your car wash, and the soap and the water comes out the end of the brush as you're scrubbing the car, which is a lot of work, but you can just drive through a car wash much easier. But that's interesting. That
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of like, you know, they're going to perfect that hair washing thing that ripped that lady's hair out. I mean, that's just always the beginning test,
So
right?
whoever didn't listen last week, when you go to the salon and when they wash your hair, they lean you back in the shampoo chair and they lean you back in the shampoo bowl. So this technology is there's a hood fix there's a yeah, it's a hood that fixes over and it stops at your eyebrows. Yeah, and it basically keeps your whole face inside. And then there's these water jets that spin in a circular motion, and it's like
Seen
going
them.
through a car
I've
wash.
seen them. I've seen them with fingers inside there to actually touch your head, also.
Oh, they come out to massage, kind of like
Yeah.
stimulate a
So
massage.
the one you're
Okay.
talking about is more like the thing that you clean a driveway with, right? With the pressure washer head
With the
spinning
pressure
on the
washer head
inside,
spinning. Yeah.
and you run it over the sidewalk or the driveway. That's what you saw for the head. I can't imagine spinning that your hair's going to end up in twisted tangles. Maybe it just kind of does like this.
Once
But
they
right, so
figure out the PSI properly, then it'll be a lot more comfortable. Cause I'll tell you, I do like
that's an easy thing to fix.
I, that, that poor woman. You should have tell her that. She'll never go in one of those again. But I do
Well, that's
love
just
standing in a shower with strong water pressure and feeling that pressure hit me. I love strong pressure shower.
so right. So water pressure can simulate touch. So I can see where the pressure on the head could simulate fingers touching you because I mean, you can use water to cut through metal if if you get enough pressure. So water pressure can do the trick of not having to touch but feel like there's touch going on. Yeah, so I think they'll get that figured out and it'll work and in the right pattern where it's just pushing the hair back into a detangling situation instead of a tangling
Well, it was pretty
situation.
interesting because it shoots the shampoo out. It's like combined into the water, and then the conditioner is
Right.
combined into there as well too. It's really interesting.
Yes, and you know the truth of the matter is that's one of the most back-breaking jobs we have is
It is.
nobody ever puts those shampoo bowls at the right height. I mean, if you got older fashioned standing on the side, you're leaning over and you're scrubbing and people love their head shampooed and scrubbed if you're doing it right, but the hairdressers after so many a day, it's hurting your back, it's hurting your shoulders. Then if you got the rear wash bowls where you're in the back, it seems to make more sense, but it's not I don't know. It's not easier for me to scrub somebody's head from directly behind them. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. I've done it for so many years standing on the side. I can get that. I feel like I shampoo better, but it should be easier standing straight behind because it should be more
Oh,
symmetrical.
I love shampooing the shampoo bowls that you can stand from behind to do it.
Yeah.
It is so much more comfortable on your back.
But when you go
It
to rinse the
really is.
hair around the front, I feel like I can't see their face well enough and they don't usually lay back
No,
enough.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I guess it's just whatever you get used to.
Yeah, no, it's fine. One of the things that I did, which is rudimentary technology, you know, the swing arm for a lamp that you would use in your workshop
Or swing arm for like this
or
microphone.
for like the microphone, right?
Yeah.
So I got one of those swing arms, and then I got the thing that you hold, that you clip the phone.
Okay.
So I clipped one of these magnetic things to the swing arm so the client can put their phone on it. So and I put it back from the shampoo bowl to like come over. So they will actually look up and force them to tilt their head far enough back
So you got them watching a YouTube video or something?
for like the 1 minute that I'm or the 2 minutes that I'm washing their hair, because one of my personal pet peeves is when you're trying to shampoo somebody and the client is like trying to be on their phone while they're getting their hair washed, and it's like, dude, put your phone down for 30 seconds, let me wash your hair. Are you kidding me right now? You
You
really
just got their
need
hand
to
in
send that text message right now, you know? Because it sucks. Every time you go to wash them, it's when they tilt their head back forward. And it's always when you go to rinse their nape, the water's like everywhere. The water goes everywhere.
That's interesting. So I'd love to see a picture of that, of what you're doing with the clamp. That's pretty cool. You got to connect it to the bowl or to their chair, or what
No,
do you have
no.
it
So you
connected
know, like
to?
you know how the shampoo bowl has the lip for the shelf. It's like
Hmm.
a shampoo bowl that's built into a station
A little
that
shelf
holds
on the
your
side.
towels and the showels and yeah. So I clamp the arm onto there, swing it over. They hang. I put their phone in there. The magnet clips up. The magnet clips to the thing, and
Oh, so that's what you use for your phone during our Facebook Live, also.
yeah, like how I use the gimbal, for example, for
Yeah,
my cell phone. That's what
right.
gave me the idea, because it's got a metal, it's got the metal thing. You put you clamp your phone, and then
Yeah,
the metal, attaches, or the magnet attaches to the gimbal, and that's how it holds it in place. So I'm like,
that's cool.
huh. And I'm always like playing with little side projects and stuff. So I'm like, I wonder what this can do.
Yeah,
Because I got
yeah.
the
There's a.
idea somebody was trying to take a picture of their baby and they were going like this, so the kid would like look over there. I'm like, how can I get the client to do
So
that?
let me. So, it's funny. I taught my son. I mean, a little off topic, but kind of what you're talking about right now. He said, "I just cut these two little kids' hair yesterday." He was telling his girlfriend, "I just cut your two little cousins' hair yesterday." Two little girls. They were so bad. They wouldn't stop moving. I said, "Let me teach you a little trick with all kids. You think the only time you need them to close their eyes is when you cut their bangs. But if you're in the back and you're trying to cut hair across the back and they're moving, just put their hair where you want it and say, can you close your eyes for just a second? And you don't have to be cutting the bangs. You can be cutting the back. But if they close their eyes, they stop moving because they're only moving and seeing what's
Okay.
interesting.
Okay.
So when a kid is like all over the place and I was like, close your eyes, it's like, if you can get them to close their eyes for 5 seconds, you can get that straight line cut real quick because they're not moving. So, I mean, that's not too technologically
would
advanced.
a blindfold work as well? Because now you
Duct,
just created a life
duct tape,
hack. This isn't
handcuffs,
just
yeah.
technology.
So, what else is the future of technology that you got listed there?
Have you heard of microblading
Eyebrows? Oh,
for
yeah.
eyebrows?
Micro
So
shading and micro blading.
so now there is micro needling for the scalp. And they kind
Yes,
of have this
micro
technology,
pigmentation.
micropigmentation. So do you know anything
Yeah, it's
about
big
that?
in the hair. It's big in the hair replacement world, right?
Okay,
So,
okay. So this
so a
isn't
guy
just
who,
hair stuff. I got hair extension stuff in here too.
and that is hair.
Yeah.
Looks like hair. So right, so that's kind of cool, right? So a lot of the tattoo artists are really getting into this one because a guy who's starting to thin or bald, and they decide to shave their head because they don't want to deal with the looking bald, but they got this stubble coming. Like I got stubble on my face here, but I don't look like I have stubble here because I don't grow hair here. So if I thought I wanted hair here, or let's use you for example. Let's say you decided,
Yes.
oh, I don't like how high my forehead's gotten as I've gotten a little bit older. I'm losing a little bit of hairline here. I'm going to shave my head because I think I look better bald. But I want it to look like if I did grow hair, I had a hairline like Bernard.
I've talked
Then
to you
you
about
get,
this before.
yeah. So you would get little black dots tattooed on your forehead, right on up to where you want
Mm.
that hairline. It's crazy how good it looks. I think we actually, I don't think you realized what you were showing, but when we did one of the hair placement videos in the past, we showed this. And I don't think you quite got it because you never heard of it before or knew what we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
But it was one of the pictures that we showed was micropigmentation back then. Because I still think it's amazing. I think it can go hand in hand with a lot of things. Guys who are just thinning a little bit through here can get, or ladies can get a little tattooed of the color because they're using, what are they using now to color it? Hair fibers,
Or
hair
are they
color
using tattoo
spray.
ink, or are they using fibers?
No, I'm saying there's a lot of techniques to make the bald or thinning areas look darker.
Yeah, yeah.
People are using powders, hair fibers that they're
I got you.
sprinkling on. They're spraying color on their scalp. They're darkening like I used to have more hairs per square inch, you see. Now I don't like that I see the white scalp in between. So if I wanted to put some sort of like a stencil, something here, they usually make it with some teeth, and then sprayed my forehead right there, my head would look darker. So I'd look like I had more hairs per square inch. Or I could just get dots tattooed in there. I still got the hairline as low as I've had it for many, many years, but I don't have as many hairs per square inch. I still got a lot of hair, so I'm not really complaining, but people try to joke with me and go, "You're thinning." I know. I am, actually. And so I'm feeling right now on the back of my head. We did this video a few weeks ago. We had Brittany come in and do video. They're still in there. I can feel them. She tied some hairs in the what they call my bald spot, which I mean that's where your hair separates. But she took these cyber hairs from IHI, these individual synthetic fibers, and they come on this tube. And she would pull it off the tube over one of my hairs and then tie it. And she would add, and so then it would be 2 more hairs that would come out on my one hair. And she did it, I don't know, 10 or 15 times up there. And if I I can kind of barely feel the knots, but you can barely see them. It's so tiny. But it made this section a little fuller in this area. And we mostly did it for training purposes in a video. But I'm getting to live and feel it and just forget it's there. And I've got new hair up there. So yeah, that I don't know if you call that technology, but it's definitely an advancement.
Hey, man, it's a form of it
in our industry. Did you have a list?
Brennan, I do. Brennan is making a comment. He's going, now you can get father-son tattoos together. You can get the micro needling.
Most of my kids have tattoos, and I just have always been against them.
Awesome.
I don't care if other people get them, but I guess part of me is I never have really liked or appreciated art like so many people do to start with. And then I'd never seen a piece of art that I'm like, I got to have that on my body and I got to have it on there forever. Because I feel like I might change my mind or want to change it, and so I don't think there's anything I want on me permanently. If I lost my hair, maybe I'd feel differently about art that makes my body look, more I don't know, more I don't know. But anyway, that's funny.
Yeah. So now we talked about the lasers.
I want to know about your list.
Here's one. This is for the eco-friendly people out there.
Okay.
They're working on a technology that will take a water droplet and mystify it, but it'll mystify it in a way that it'll retain the density of the water. So this way, it'll reduce water usage up to 80%. So instead of standing in a shower, okay, so watch.
1 drop of water do what?
Watch. You go in the shower now. You turn on the water, right? And then you wait for the water warm up. There goes a gallon. And then you stand in the shower and you got to get your body wet and your hair wet. There goes another gallon or 2. And then you turn away from the shower to grab your shampoo, and then you're working it in, you're scrubbing it in all the time. The water's spraying you, right? There goes another couple of gallons.
Right.
And then you're doing everything else you're doing. So like by the time you're done taking a shower, you've taken, I don't know, 20 gallons of water, whatever it is.
Okay.
Right? So what this technology is claiming to do is they're turning, instead of the water shooting at you, it's going to mist at you. But the way they're doing it, the water droplets are going to retain their density, so the water will stay heavy. So when it hits you, the water will actually spread across your body, across your hair, across your whatever, right? And it'll use up to 80% less water because it's using the droplets.
The same.
It'll feel the same, right? Yeah.
How are they making a droplet less dense? One more.
It's
the chemical.
It's so some kind of micro, like they're shrinking the water molecules. It's future tech. It's coming. We will know more when it arrives. But that's just something on the radar that I thought was interesting. It has to do with our industry.
I already hate the water-saving shower heads. I want more water hitting me from that shower head.
Look, I just said I like the pressure. I like feeling that pressure.
Right, I know. I know it, right. I hated the early version. I mean, I don't want to get into the gross details of this, but I hated the early versions of less water in the toilets because they were 3 gallons every time you flushed, and then they got down to a
It was
gallon
only
and a half
gallon
and a
and a
half.
half or something. Yeah.
Yeah, less than a gallon. Now, I watched some videos where they actually test these toilets because I love construction and plumbing and electrical. And in the early days, they just did less water. They put bricks in the back to take up volume, but you needed a certain pressure to get the stuff and paper and everything to go. So they technology there changed the way the swirl happens, the way it actually
Hmm.
sucks it down, so they can get a better flush without. So I believe it can happen. I just don't understand it all. So yeah, I enjoy, and that's something we didn't talk about. Why do we as we age in general resist technology?
Because it's
Most people,
foreign.
yeah,
It's
I guess
foreign,
so,
right?
because it's
We've
something.
talked about this plenty of times. Here's your answer, actually. Here's exactly your answer. We talk about this in hair extensions all the time. You learn that one technique, and that's your go to technique. Or like with hair color, you got
True.
that one toner, and that's it. It doesn't matter what shade of blonde they come out. That's your one toner. Everybody got
That's the
that
truth.
one thing, right? So
Right,
when
right.
people get comfortable in their one thing that works for them and they find success, failure is a scary thing, and in the society, without getting political, you're one and done. If you goof up once, you get fired or you get
Right.
passed up.
True.
A
True.
lot of people aren't willing to let you try to fix your mistake. So people resist change because they don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to goof up.
Yeah. And so that would be my advice to most people. That's what I love about Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk. He's one of those guys out there teaching people about motivation and business skills. And as soon as a new technology comes out, I remember him because I thought of Snapchat as little teenage girls sending messages to each other. When
Mm.
I first learned about it, that's who was doing it. I thought that's who it was for, mostly girls, mostly teenagers. And then Gary V is like, Snapchat's going to be huge. And I'm like, dude, you're a grown man. Why are you talking about Snapchat? And he was just for the newest technology. When Periscope first came out, he was for it. Then Snapchat and Periscope, you don't hear about it anymore. He was for Instagram. Some stick around, some do not. But if you don't try it, TikTok, if you don't try it and get on, you try and you get on board, and if it doesn't work out, that audience will follow you somewhere else.
Somewhere else,
You know,
right?
and we're kind of doing that on YouTube right now. I think YouTube's going to make it and stick around for a little while.
Just a little while. Well, you think about
But
this way too. You use Snapchat without realizing you use Snapchat because when hairdressers would call us and say, oh, I'm struggling with this client with her hair extensions and stuff like that, especially after we just trained them, you'd always say, oh, have them take a video real quick and send it, and we'll review the video of what they're doing. And then we can see what's up. So that was a cool little thing.
I didn't
Um,
use Snap. I just didn't. I didn't. I tried for a little bit.
it was it
I
was
just
the it was the concept of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I use Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp videos, just a phone video mostly, but Snap could have been one for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all the social medias are so helpful. It is the That's one thing I liked about what Gary Vee said about people say, I just like the old-fashioned word of mouth marketing and advertising. He said that there it doesn't you don't have to call it old-fashioned. We
Right.
still depend on word of mouth advertising. It just happens through social media now, not ear to ear, face to face. Like right now, we're in different states and we're talking to each other. If I recommend something to you, like WhatsApp, you may use it over in your state. This is word of mouth, but it's over Discord, YouTube, a little bit of
all
Facebook.
all the different stuffs.
Yeah, it's not actually my mouth to your
The
ears.
other stuff, we pretty much kind of went over it. We're talking about
And our
the
time's up.
the the roller brushes. We're talking about the straighteners, color dyes, virtual realities, air curlers, self-revolving brushes, and okay.
I
So
want
you
to
know
bring
what? Yeah, we went through
just
it all.
let's just for a second. I want to cover one that you brought up that I don't know. I'm a little torn on. You talked about color through digital. Don't you have a problem with the actual shade though? Because every phone or when you try to do color through digital purposes, like instead of a color ring to match a color and you use a phone and you're bringing up shades, because even a paper colored chart that you have in your place is a little better, but usually a little flatter or duller than the actual hair on a color swatch. My video guy was doing a color video for me and he goes, "What about that color wheel video?" He named it color wheel. That's what it was. The color wheel. I said, "No, no, no. It's a color ring or color swatch ring." And he goes, "No, you called it a color wheel." I said, "Todd, I would not have said color wheel. That's something my mom would say because they had color wheels way back when. The color was on a piece of cardboard. You'd you spin it and had a little window to view through." I said, "That doesn't even exist anymore. We use real color swatches." And he goes, "Huh, I must have heard that from Jimmy." He was the old school owner that I went to years ago, and they still go to church together. So he goes, "That must have been Jimmy that says color wheel." I said, "He does, actually. He still says color wheel." So that's funny. But now you're saying electronically. I think you said that earlier, right? Picking color or color swatches from a computer or an iPad or a telephone. Everybody has their contrast or brightness different, and every
So
phone is
that's going to
different.
be one of the challenges moving forward,
Yeah,
because as we're seeing, and we see it today, we see it now,
yeah.
trying to choose a color from a paper chart is only as good as the paper chart itself. Is it on gloss paper? Is it on regular paper? Is it on whatever
But
that paper
still, that's
is?
way more consistent than phones.
But that's the issue, isn't it? Because now with everything moving towards digital, like you said it yourself, getting away from actual physical paper and stuff like that, and now with things going into digitized, how are you going to render that image properly with enough resolution to show off that color nicely? And then and then off of whatever device you're looking at, whether it's a phone, a tablet, laptop, computer, whatever it is, how are you going to be able to see that color? Because color on ink on paper is different than color on the computer, digitized.
Or
The
color on
image
hair.
gets flattened out, right? So
It's going
you
to
lose
give
some
the
of that.
manufacturers and the suppliers a little more room for error because digitally you can say fly
I'm
on
going to be a
over.
half a shade off. Yeah.
Well, it might be a half to a shade off because it matches in our office.
You're right.
It matches in our office. Lie, lie.
Right.
Wink,
So
wink.
yeah, that's where we're at with things. So I don't know. Then it's like, what other technologies are there out there that you all may be familiar with? Let us know. Let us know
Right.
what's coming,
Comment,
because it'll be
like,
interesting.
subscribe. You forgot to say all that stuff. Would you help me beg people to subscribe to our channel?
No, 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 because by next week I'll be making the
Come on, Eddie.
4,000 subscriber announcement, and I've never asked for one person to ever subscribe. So
You like
4,000 of
that?
you psychopaths out there like what we're saying, and
I,
that's good
I
enough for
think
me.
you kind of did just ask people to subscribe.
No.
You said by next week we're going to be at 4,000, and it was kind of like you saying, "Subscribe. I need y'all to watch me. It's been in my life. I feel like a
All right.
loser if nobody's
I'm
watching."
signing off. I'm going to a meeting. I'm going back to work.